The 2025 housing crash isn't a prediction anymore. It's not a warning from cautious economists or a headline designed to grab attention. It's happening right now, in real time, across cities that millions of Americans call home. And the most unsettling part? Almost nobody saw it coming this way. While politicians talk about soft landings and realtors post cheerful updates about spring markets, entire neighborhoods are quietly unraveling. Foreclosure notices are piling up faster than anyone wants to admit. Home values that took decades to build are vanishing in months. And the families caught in the middle are discovering that the American dream they bought into has suddenly become a financial nightmare they can't escape. Today, on the Revealed States, we're taking you inside 10 cities across America where the housing market isn't just cooling, it's collapsing. These aren't minor corrections or temporary dips. These are full-scale meltdowns driven by forces that most buyers never considered. Insurance chaos, climate disasters, job losses, investor panic, and local economies that simply cannot support the prices people paid at the peak. You're about to see data that might shock you. Stories that feel uncomfortably close to 2008. And warning signs that every potential home buyer, seller, and investor needs to understand before making their next move. Make sure you're subscribed to the Revealed States. Hit that like button if you appreciate honest, data-driven breakdowns of America's real estate crisis. And stay with us, because what you're about to discover could save you from the most expensive mistake of your life. Now, let's begin our countdown. Number 10. Tampa, Florida. You drive into Tampa, and the first thing that hits you is the energy. Gleaming high-rises line the waterfront. New restaurants open every month. The skyline looks like a city on the rise. But underneath that polished surface, the housing market is coming apart at the seams. Between 2020 and 2022, Tampa was one of the hottest markets in America. Home values soared more than 80% as remote workers, retirees, and investors flooded in from expensive northern cities. The median home price climbed from around $280,000 to nearly $520,000 in less than 2 years. It felt like easy money. It felt like the boom would never end. Then reality arrived. By mid-2025, that median price has fallen back toward the low 300,000s, a drop of more than 40% from the peak. And in certain neighborhoods, especially those that attracted heavy investor activity, the decline has been even steeper. Properties that sold for $600,000 in 2022 are now listed at $350,000, and they're still sitting. The primary driver? Insurance. Florida's homeowners insurance system has entered a full-blown crisis. Major national carriers have pulled out of the state entirely. Citizens Property Insurance, the state-backed insurer of last resort, is now covering hundreds of thousands of policies it was never designed to handle. Annual premiums that once cost $2,000 are now routinely hitting $8,000, $10,000, even $15,000 in flood-prone zones. For many families, that's the equivalent of adding a second mortgage payment. Hurricane Ian in 2022 and Hurricane Idalia in 2023 exposed just how vulnerable Tampa's coastal and near-coastal communities really are. Entire streets flooded. Homes sat damaged for months, waiting for contractors who never showed up, or insurers who denied claims on technicalities. Some owners discovered their policies didn't cover wind damage, or water intrusion, or mold, gaps they never knew existed until it was too late. The rental market offers no relief. Landlords who bought investment properties during the surge are now facing negative cash flow as insurance costs eat into their margins. Some are trying to sell. Others are simply walking away, letting properties slide into foreclosure rather than continue hemorrhaging money every month. If you bought in Tampa during the peak, or if you're thinking about buying now, ask yourself this: can you afford the insurance? Can you weather another major storm? And if values keep falling, are you prepared to stay put for years, possibly decades? Waiting for a recovery that might never come? Share your Tampa story in the comments. This market is a warning for every coastal city in America. Number 9. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte was supposed to be different. It was the Southern success story: steady job growth, big banks, corporate headquarters, and affordable housing compared to the coasts. For years, it attracted young professionals and families looking for opportunity without the sky-high prices of New York or California. Then the pandemic hit, and Charlotte became a magnet. Home prices surged more than 70% between 2020 and 2023, with the median climbing from around $275,000 to over $480,000. Bidding wars became routine. New subdivisions sold out before they were even finished. It felt unstoppable. But by 2025, the momentum has reversed violently. Median home prices have fallen back toward the low 300,000s in many areas, a drop of roughly 35% from the peak. And the correction isn't over. Inventory is climbing. Days on market are stretching longer. Price cuts are becoming standard. The core issue is oversupply. During the boom, builders went all in. Massive developments sprang up on the outskirts, filled with nearly identical homes aimed at first-time buyers and relocating remote workers. When interest rates shot above 7% and companies started calling workers back to offices, demand collapsed. Suddenly, there were thousands of brand-new homes sitting empty, with sellers competing against each other in a race to the bottom. At the same time, Charlotte's banking sector, the backbone of the local economy, has faced turbulence. Layoffs at major financial institutions, hiring freezes, belt-tightening that rippled through the entire metro. The jobs that once justified those elevated home prices are no longer as secure as they seemed. Many buyers who stretched to purchase in 2022 or early 2023 now find themselves underwater. They owe more on their mortgages than their homes are worth. Refinancing isn't an option. Selling means taking a loss. So they stay, hoping things turn around while their equity evaporates. Charlotte's story is a reminder that even safe markets can overheat. Growth is good until it outpaces fundamentals. If you're considering a move here, look past the glossy brochures and ask the hard questions. Are there too many homes chasing too few buyers? Can local wages support current prices? And what happens if the economy slows further? Number 8. Denver, Colorado. Denver used to represent the Colorado dream. Mountain views, outdoor lifestyle, craft beer culture, and a thriving tech scene. For a decade, it seemed like one of the most reliable housing markets in the country. Then, the pandemic supercharged demand, and prices went parabolic. Between 2020 and 2022, the median home price in the Denver metro soared from around $475,000 to over $720,000, a gain of more than 50% in less than 2 years. Buyers from California and New York arrived with cash offers and flexible work arrangements, outbidding locals and driving the market into overdrive. By 2025, that surge has reversed sharply. Median prices have fallen back toward the high $400,000 in many areas, a decline of roughly 40% from the peak. Luxury homes in the foothills and ski-adjacent communities have been hit even harder, with some properties losing half their value or more. The primary culprit is affordability. Local wages in Denver, while above the national average, never kept pace with the explosive price growth. When remote workers began leaving, either because companies mandated office returns or because the novelty of mountain living wore off, demand from high-income, out-of-state buyers dried up. What remained was a market where typical Denver residents simply couldn't afford typical Denver homes. Wildfire risk has also moved from abstract concern to daily reality. The Marshall Fire in 2021, which destroyed over 1,000 homes in Boulder County, shocked the region. Insurance companies responded by raising premiums, tightening coverage, and in some cases, pulling out of high-risk zones entirely. Homeowners in areas near forests or grasslands are now paying 2x or 3x what they paid just a few years ago, if they can get coverage at all. Utility costs have climbed as well. Xcel Energy and other providers have raised rates to cover infrastructure upgrades and wildfire mitigation efforts. For families already stretched thin by mortgage payments and property taxes, every additional cost pushes them closer to the breaking point. Denver's rental market has also softened. New apartment towers that opened during the boom now sit with high vacancy rates and aggressive concessions, free months of rent, waived deposits, Amazon gift cards. For landlords who bought single-family homes as investments, the math no longer works. Some are selling at a loss. Others are quietly letting properties go into foreclosure. If you dreamed of mountain living in Denver, the current market offers a harsh lesson. Lifestyle comes with costs, and when prices disconnect from local incomes, gravity eventually wins. Number 7. Tucson, Arizona. Tucson sits in the shadow of Phoenix, both geographically and economically. For years, it was the more affordable desert alternative. Warm winters, lower prices, and a slower pace of life. During the pandemic, that affordability attracted a wave of retirees and remote workers looking for sunshine without Phoenix's intensity. Home prices in Tucson climbed more than 65% between 2020 and 2023, with the median rising from around $245,000 to over $410,000. It was the fastest growth the city had seen in decades. Investors bought rental properties. Builders launched new developments. Everyone assumed the trend would continue. It didn't. By 2025, median prices have fallen back toward the mid-200,000s, a decline of roughly 45% from the peak. And unlike other markets on this list, Tucson's collapse has been driven not just by economics, but by fundamental environmental realities. Water is the issue no one wants to talk about, but everyone is thinking about. Tucson depends heavily on the Colorado River and underground aquifers, both of which are under severe strain. The state of Arizona has imposed stricter limits on new development in certain areas, citing water scarcity. Some proposed subdivisions have been delayed or canceled entirely. That uncertainty has spooked buyers, especially those planning to hold properties long-term. At the same time, extreme heat has become impossible to ignore. Tucson regularly sees summer temperatures above 110 degrees for weeks at a time. Air conditioning isn't optional, it's survival. Utility bills during peak months can run $400, $500, even $600 for modest homes. For retirees on fixed incomes, those costs are unsustainable. Insurance companies have also raised rates in response to wildfire risk in surrounding areas and infrastructure strain. Policies that once cost under $1,500 per year now routinely exceed $3,000, with higher deductibles and more exclusions. The combination of falling home values, rising operating costs, and long-term environmental uncertainty has created a perfect storm. Many owners who bought during the boom are now trapped. They can't sell without taking a major loss, but staying means absorbing costs that keep climbing. Tucson's housing crisis is a preview of what's coming to other Sunbelt cities. If you're considering a move to the desert, look beyond the winter sunshine and ask the hard questions about water, heat, and long-term sustainability. Number 6. Portland, Oregon. Portland was once the poster child for livability. Walkable neighborhoods, progressive values, craft everything, and a thriving creative economy. But in 2025, the city's housing market is in free fall, driven by a toxic mix of policy failures, public safety concerns, and economic decline. Between 2020 and 2022, median home prices in Portland climbed from around $450,000 to over $620,000, a gain of nearly 40%. But unlike other pandemic boomtowns, Portland's surge was fueled less by incoming migration and more by tight supply and historically low interest rates. By 2025, that brief surge has reversed. Median prices have fallen back toward the low 400,000s, a drop of roughly 35%, But the numbers don't tell the full story. The bigger issue is demand. It's simply not there anymore. Businesses are leaving. Major employers like Nike and Intel have slowed hiring or relocated operations. Retail vacancies downtown have reached crisis levels, with once vibrant streets now lined with boarded-up storefronts. Homelessness and visible drug use have become pervasive, especially in the city core, driving away both residents and tourists. Portland's tax burden has also become a factor. The city and county have implemented multiple new taxes and fees in recent years: arts taxes, business taxes, metro supportive housing taxes, all layered on top of existing property taxes. For homeowners already struggling with falling values, those costs feel like punishment. The rental market has softened significantly. Landlords who once enjoyed strong demand and rising rents are now offering concessions and struggling to fill vacancies. Some have sold their properties and exited the market entirely, citing policy uncertainty and tenant protections that make it harder to operate profitably. If you're thinking about buying in Portland, understand that you're not just buying a house, you're buying into a city at a crossroads. The community that once made Portland special is fraying. The jobs that once sustained it are disappearing. And the values that once seemed rock solid are proving to be anything but. Number 5. Miami, Florida. Miami is supposed to be unstoppable. Luxury condominiums, international buyers, no state income tax, a booming crypto and finance scene. For years, the narrative was bulletproof. Miami is the future. But in 2025, that narrative is cracking. Home prices in the Miami metro have fallen more than 30% from their peak, with certain condo buildings seeing even steeper drops. Properties that sold for $2 million in 2022 are now listed under $1.3 million and still not moving. The primary culprit is the same crisis plaguing the rest of Florida: insurance. But in Miami, the problem is compounded by the sheer concentration of high-value properties in flood zones. Annual premiums on luxury condominiums now routinely exceed $20,000, $30,000, even $50,000 in some cases. For international buyers who saw Miami as a safe investment, those costs are a shock. Condo associations are also in turmoil. New structural safety requirements, triggered by the 2021 Surfside collapse, have forced buildings to undergo expensive inspections and repairs. Special assessments are hitting owners hard, sometimes $50,000, $100,000, or more per unit. Some owners simply can't afford to pay and are walking away. At the same time, Miami's rental market has softened. The flood of new luxury towers has created oversupply, especially in Brickell and downtown. Rents are falling. Vacancy rates are rising. Landlords who bought units as investments are discovering that cash flow is harder to achieve than the sales brochures suggested. Climate risk is no longer theoretical. King tides regularly flood streets in Miami Beach and other low-lying areas. Sea level rise is accelerating, and while the city is investing in resilience infrastructure, those efforts take time and money, much of which comes from property taxes on homeowners. Miami's story is a reminder that even the most glamorous markets are vulnerable. If you're considering buying here, make sure you understand the total cost of ownership: insurance, HOA fees, assessments, taxes, and the very real risk that the next storm could change everything. Number 4. Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh was the definition of a steady, smart growth market. Research triangle, tech jobs, top-tier universities, affordable housing. For decades, it was a model of sustainable urban development. Then the pandemic turned it into a feeding frenzy. Home prices surged more than 75% between 2020 and 2023, with the median climbing from around $310,000 to over $545,000. Out-of-state buyers, especially from the Northeast, snapped up homes sight unseen, often paying tens of thousands over asking. By 2025, that surge has reversed. Median prices have fallen back toward the mid-300,000s, a decline of roughly 40%. And unlike Charlotte, where banking jobs anchored the economy, Raleigh's correction has been driven largely by oversupply and shifting migration patterns. Builders went all in during the boom, launching massive subdivisions on the outskirts. But when interest rates rose and companies called workers back to offices, demand evaporated. Suddenly, there were thousands of brand-new homes competing for a shrinking pool of buyers. At the same time, the tech sector, once Raleigh's growth engine, has cooled. Layoffs at major firms, hiring freezes, startups struggling to raise capital. The jobs that once justified those elevated home prices are no longer as abundant. Property taxes have also become a burden. As home values soared during the boom, assessments climbed with them. Even though market values have since fallen, many homeowners are still paying taxes based on inflated peak-era appraisals. Appeals take time, and in the meantime, families are stuck with bills they can't afford. Raleigh's rental market has softened as well, especially near universities and downtown. Landlords are offering concessions. Vacancies are rising. Some investors are selling at a loss rather than continue bleeding cash every month. If you're considering Raleigh, understand that the steady growth narrative is over, at least for now. This is a market in transition, and where it lands is still uncertain. Number 3. Spokane, Washington. Spokane was never supposed to be on a list like this. It's a small, quiet city in eastern Washington, affordable, scenic, and far from the chaos of Seattle or California. But in 2025, Spokane's housing market is collapsing under the weight of speculation, oversupply, and economic strain. Between 2020 and 2022, home prices in Spokane soared more than 80%, with the median climbing from around $260,000 to over $470,000. Buyers from the West Coast flooded in, chasing affordability and space. Investors bought aggressively, betting on continued growth. By 2025, that bet has gone wrong. Median prices have fallen back toward the low 200,000s, a drop of more than 55%. And in certain neighborhoods, the decline has been even steeper. The core issue is that Spokane's economy never supported those prices. Local wages are well below the national average. Jobs are limited. The influx of high-income remote workers was temporary, and when those workers left or returned to offices, demand collapsed. At the same time, wildfires and smoke have become a chronic summer reality. Insurance costs have climbed. Air quality concerns have made the region less attractive to families with children or health issues. Spokane's story is a cautionary tale about what happens when speculation disconnects prices from fundamentals. If you're considering buying here, make sure you understand the local economy and whether it can support the price you're paying. Number 2. Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville is Florida's largest city by land area, and during the pandemic, it became one of the hottest markets in the state. Home prices surged more than 70%, with the median climbing from around $255,000 to over $435,000. By 2025, that surge has reversed. Median prices have fallen back toward the mid-200,000s, a decline of roughly 45%. And the drivers are familiar: insurance chaos, oversupply, and economic uncertainty. Jacksonville's insurance crisis is severe. Annual premiums have doubled or tripled in many areas. Flood insurance is increasingly expensive or unavailable. Some neighborhoods are effectively uninsurable, making it nearly impossible to get a mortgage. At the same time, builders overbuilt during the boom. New subdivisions sit half-empty. Price cuts are routine. Desperation is setting in. If you're considering Jacksonville, understand that the affordability that once made it attractive is now a trap. Low prices don't matter if you can't get insurance or if the next storm wipes out your investment. Number 1. Las Vegas, Nevada. We end in Las Vegas, a city built on risk, and now paying the price. During the pandemic, home prices in Las Vegas soared from around $320,000 to over $480,000, a gain of 50% in less than 2 years. By 2025, that median has fallen back toward the mid-200,000s, a drop of more than 50%, and the correction is still underway. Las Vegas was flooded with investor activity during the boom. Short-term rentals, speculative flips, corporate landlords. When demand cooled, the market collapsed. Water scarcity is also a major concern. Lake Mead is at historic lows. Growth restrictions are looming. Climate risk is real. Las Vegas is a reminder that boom markets can become bust markets faster than anyone expects. Our journey ends here. From Tampa to Las Vegas, the pattern is clear. The 2025 housing crash is real. It's accelerating, and most Americans are not prepared. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, do your homework. Look beyond the surface. Understand insurance, climate risk, local economics, and policy changes. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe to The Revealed States. Tell us in the comments which city surprised you most, and which market we should examine next. Thank you for watching. And remember, knowledge is your best protection in uncertain times.